I was at the furthest point of the Skytrek trail, where you cut through two of these amazing mountain ridges. You can see each different layer of the earth over time. It's amazing to me how the earth moves and tilts like this over millions of years. The terrain changed again and became really rocky. But it was a totally different kind of rock than the slate rock in the riverbeds I'd ridden over earlier. These were rough lumps of rock and would throw the front wheel around if I hit it at the wrong angle. The track was a lot harsher in this section. Bigger step-ups, bigger rocks and bigger gullies. And just like that, the surface changed again and I was on the red dirt. The consistency of the small rain runoff channels continued, but now there were more open, fast sections. The diversity of this track is pretty amazing. You've gone from the river creeks, that little gorge, then up through the open plains and sand, and then all that rocky section, or the other type of riverbed with the really soft sand. And then, through here was really rocky. Luckily I had enough ground clearance. The rocky bit was the furthest point out, so we're heading back, and I just don't know what to expect next. I came to a dry riverbed. It had the same issue as the one in the previous valley, where the trail had been covered by the river sand from the downpour of rain. I had a 50-50 chance, so I picked left. It seemed I'd picked wrong, so I turned around with as little throttle as possible, not wanting to dig the back tyre in again on the soft river sand. I'm amazed how these big trees get their start in the middle of the riverbed, the tenacity of them to grip on. And there's the track. It just required a little bit of exploring to find. Another old ruin. Imagine living out here a century ago. I stopped to take in this section of the range in its entirety. It's almost like a backbone rising out of the ground. I'm finding if I keep the speed up a little bit, it's easier to get through the riverbed if it's mainly sand. That thing looks like it's been here a while. There are a lot of large dead trees in this section. I gather it would be from a long period of drought, as they all look about the same size and similar age. I have an emu wanting to race. He's still there. And still there. There are a few gates to go through on this track. Like any working farm or station, always leave the gates how you found them. I came across a riverbed where the walls had a lot more colour than the others. How cool is the colour of the ochre here? It's got both the yellow and that red running through the yellow. And just these big gum trees sitting in the middle of the river. Mother Nature can create some of the most unique, beautiful things. And Keeping up with the diversity of this place, another totally different kind of rock formation. The track started to climb and get a little rougher. I made it to the top of the hill, but could see in the distance there were a lot higher peaks still to come. I'd figured out to be super careful of these little crossings, as some of them were really squared off, so if I hit them at speed, I'd find the limits of my suspension pretty quickly, and may even get bucked off. Finally made it to the infamous gate, to the last section, which was all the steep hill climbs. I was told back at the homestead, if you don't make the first climb, turn around, as it's just going to get harder from there. Well, there's only one way to find out if I can get through. Now, a wide-angle lens on camera will never show how steep up or down a climb is. It looks like this, but it's actually quite steep and more like this. The first climb was pretty rutted out. I'm not sure if it's normally like this or it has been affected by the rain, but there was a lot of rather loose rocks and exposed slabs. I really wanted to check out the view, but I thought it'd be a wiser choice to focus on the track while I was moving. Well, I made the first hill and felt quite comfortable on it, and the bike seemed to handle it fine. Again, the wide lens doesn't do this descent justice. Sometimes I think it's easier going uphill rather than downhill. Yep, got it. There are some rather large rocks. Hopefully one doesn't hit the bike at the wrong angle or the wrong part and break something. The track eased up and then went back to riverbed crossings. I then came to a fork in the road. This time, I guess going to the right as it went uphill, and that's what this whole section is all about. Another river wall cut out over millions of years. This section was definitely a lot harder in every way compared to the rest of the track. Bigger rocks, harder crossings, and definitely much harder hill climbs. More riding straight up the riverbed. Getting through that riverbed, I came across a beautiful riverbank in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Then I hit the hard climb. It was a lot steeper. My basic approach, keep the speed up and keep moving forward. And hang on. I was totally relying on the Himalayas tractor ability to keep me moving forward and up this hill. Well, that was dumbfounding. I don't know how, with my ability and a Himalayan, I just got up that. But
give it to the Himalayan. It just tracked it up. I was going to stop and get a side shot and show you how steep it was. No chance. I was too worried I'd never get going again. Wow. Bike did good.
I walked back down the track a little way to get a side shot. It wasn't the steepest point, but gives you an idea. I continued on until I got to the highest point of the track. There was a bit of light rain, so I was greeted by a rainbow. Well, the two ends of a rainbow at least. Was about another 5 kilometres of gullies, riverbed crossings and hill climbs, which was all an incredible amount of fun. Finally made it to the last descent, looking over the Willow Springs homestead below.
Well, down to my last downhill. It's been pretty epic. Puffed, tired. It's been a big day.
I descended down, my mind blown with the day I'd had out on this trail. At the bottom, I got pulled up by a group of guys who had also ridden the track today. Woody described what they'd just seen.
We all run back on the chicken track because it was raining. Shit drying on to get it. Anyway, got that sorted. We're all sitting here up on the hillside with this beautiful silhouette and this little putt noise. And it's this bloke with the biggest backpack I've ever seen anyone wearing on a motorbike come putting down the final part of the full 80k loop that I couldn't do on my big flash adventure bike. He comes wandering down the hill, casual as can be. Putters down, putters up here, like it's nothing. Oh, was it hard? Oh, it was a little bit steep in some spots. Himalayan. Fucking epic.
Ride's over, but that rain that I got told about apparently still coming. And the guys at the homestead said, well, why don't you camp in the camp kitchen? Well, stash there once it gets dark, so I don't have to wake up in the rain and then try and put down a tent and etc. So yeah, I'm gonna have to quickly scramble and get everything back on the bike, everything packed up as if I'm going, and then go over there before dark. So that's the plan, and I'm tired and hungry, but I got to get this done before dark. Got the bike packed just before dark. Should have about another 10 minutes to get back to the kitchen area. And I'm about to have a shower too. That's probably needed after today's effort.
I rode to the camp kitchen with a massive headache from dehydration because I didn't drink enough out on the trail. So when I got there, I crashed out. The skies opened up overnight with heavy rain, but by the morning had mostly cleared up. Overnight, I was joined in the camp kitchen by some other guys who had ridden the track and were camping. They retreated into the camp kitchen from the weather like me. It definitely wasn't camping weather.
Alright, see you guys.
I rode out of the Willow Springs station, and you could see a lot more water had fallen overnight compared to the first night.
Sad to be leaving Willow Springs Station, but with all the rain last night, the track's closed again and the national park is again all closed. So, south. We're going south. crested the road and saw a photo opportunity. So I turned the bike around, pulled over to get the shot. And then I was on my way again. Even the sealed roads in the Flinders Range are great to ride. The national park tracks are definitely closed, so I wouldn't be riding them on this trip. Something to note, apparently, the penalty for riding on closed tracks, if you get caught, is $1,000 per tyre, and that includes spares. I pulled over to get my bearings and work out a path south. Well, last night was a bit of a shambles trying to get everything sorted to get out of the rain and into the camp kitchen, and it was worth it. One of the guys said he woke up about 2 a.m. I heard it at 1 a.m. It was like sheets of rain. He said literally the lightning and it was all going on. So glad they allowed us to bunker down in that camp kitchen. There's a cool group of guys there that also they're all going up north, but they've got issues with all the road closures as well. So they might be able to get through one of the roads, but they're not sure. So they're all planning. I decided to head south. How do I even start to comprehend yesterday? That was 80 kilometres of the most epic, literally dirt bike trails, but somehow the Himalayan got through it. I mean, if I'd seen it, walked it beforehand, I probably wouldn't have tried to go up those steep hills. But yeah, it was just so vast and different, and the whole area, and just all those little interesting things along the way. Highly recommended. So it's Willow Springs in the Flinders Ranges. If you happen to be here, worth it. But I have knobblies on that, and well, not knobblies, but close to. Definitely wouldn't have made it with that other tyre I had on before, the Scorpion. I mean, it says dirt, but it wouldn't have. That's more trail. So next, as I said, heading south, I think the Kangaroo Island, somewhere around there. There's a cool looking peninsula. Might be able to get a few shots there, and it's on the beach, a bit different than the mountains and outback. So that's the plan. I'm in my onesie. I'm hoping to Murphy's Law it. If I have it on, it won't rain. If I take it off, it will rain. So I'm just going to leave the thing on. So it's back on the road in the general direction of Adelaide, which is somewhere that way. I headed off, wondering what would be in store for me next.